Welcome to my first episode of new Apple Arcade games. For my first episode, I've gathered 4 new titles that you can play right now on your Apple device. But I've decided, since the video would be quite short with just 4 games, I've added in 5 other upcoming titles that should be coming very soon to Apple Arcade, so yeah. If you enjoy this video and want it to be a continuing series, just leave a like, that way I'll know that it's something that you guys actually want from me. First, we have the Bradwell Conspiracy. Bossa Studios randomly dropped their first-person narrative adventure onto Apple Arcade. I've been looking forward to getting my hands on this game since it was initially teased. It's out first on Apple Arcade, with the console and PC version to follow on the 8th of October. The Bradwell Conspiracy starts out with a big explosion, which has caused the main character to lose the possibility of speech. To communicate, you will interact with an NPC using smart glasses. Take photos and send them to the NPC, and she'll reply, usually in order to solve puzzles. It's a cool feature and reminds me of other adventure games like Firewatch or the Stanley Parable. The puzzles can be quite confusing. I found myself looking up guides on YouTube more than I wanted to, but it has an engaging storyline, great voice acting, and amazing graphics. The game is having some optimization issues right now, mainly for iPhones, but I've contacted Bossa directly to make them aware of all this.
Indeed, tonight's public celebration for Bradwell's Clean Water Initiative milestone has turned into a public crisis. An explosion occurred at 7:45 p.m.
Up next, we have Pilgrims. Here we have a brand new adventure game brought to us by Amanita Design. Amanita Design are the people behind the Samarost series, and you can see the resemblance here from the visuals, animations, and soundtrack. Players are asked to roam around and help people along the way. To progress further though, you need to find solutions to each location or character, so you'll have to backtrack, collect items, sit through animations, talk to people, and so on. It has a well-made user interface that has been translated very well across iPhone, iPad, and Apple TV. And it plays great with the touchscreen, Siri remote on the Apple TV, or a gaming controller. Even if the game is centered around puzzle solving, it never becomes too challenging or tedious. Again, it's a very well made title, and also at the same time I was not expecting this game to come to Apple Arcade, so thank you.
Mama.
Moving on, we have Redout Space Assault. The lead designer for Redout Space Assault recently said, "Designing a game for so many different devices with different specifications and input interfaces has been a true challenge, but these constraints forced us to focus on Redout's franchise core pillars, blazingly fast arcade action. The resulting game is sleek, furious, yet accessible." Before you start levels here, players will have the opportunity to upgrade their spaceships, then you will go into levels and engage in crazy space battles. You can roll left and right to avoid enemy fire, boost and slow down, and lock on and fire missiles. Redout Space Assault is a fairly graphically demanding game, and unfortunately right now is suffering from minor frame rate drops. It's most noticeable on Apple TV. It's not game breaking, you can still play the game, but I did notice it from time to time. Hopefully 34 Big Things address this issue ASAP. The game is said to be available on macOS Catalina October 13th. And here we have Nightmare Farm. So I guess you could call this a farming simulator, perhaps. It has timers, like many freemium games, so you'll find yourself only playing for a few moments, and then you'll stop playing, and then you'll come back, play it again, yada yada. Unlike those freemium games, the good news is that you have unlimited inventory space. I enjoyed watching the cutscenes here too, as they explain the backstory of this young woman, and they are really well crafted. Do be warned though, Nightmare Farm is no Stardew Valley. It progresses incredibly slowly, especially for the first 30 minutes. But if you're into farming games, it might be worth taking a look at. Also, don't play the game with a controller just yet. The developer really needs to make the stick movement much more quicker. It's like so slow to move that little cursor. From here, we're going to look at 5 amazing upcoming Apple Arcade games. First is Sociable Soccer by Rogue Games and Tower Studios. It is a multiplayer soccer game said to release on Apple Arcade alongside with a separate Chinese mobile version. The PC and console ports are planned to release next year, I believe. If you were expecting something like FIFA, this is not what you're getting here. It presents a more basic visual front and a more arcade tone. Also, the footage you're seeing here is from very early on in the development. It may have changed somewhat by now. Stela by Skybox Labs is a cinematic atmospheric platformer. It takes place in a mysterious ancient world that is in its final days. You play as a young woman who must overcome challenges, treacherous terrain, and terrifying creatures. You'll be able to manipulate the environment to traverse around and solve puzzles. I think if you enjoyed playing games like Projection First Light, which is on Apple Arcade, or 2017 game Inside, this one should be on your radar. UFO on Tape by Revolutionary Concepts is an Apple Arcade exclusive. Only teaser footage has been shared, so it's hard to say exactly how it plays. But it will obviously involve UFOs coming down to Earth and causing all types of panic. On the game's official Twitter page, they said it has been created using Unity 3D. A Fold Apart by Lightning Rod Games is a 3D puzzle game that is said to explore the emotional roller coaster of long-distance relationships. Players can experience both sides of a couple's story as they try to make their relationship work by whatever means possible. The whole world here has been crafted with a paper aesthetic, and it looks really cool and it's super unique. Necrobarista, hopefully I said that correctly, is by Route 59 and is a cinematic visual novel game. It has a fully 3D presentation that is inspired by anime, and the soundtrack is behind the same composer for the 2018 iOS game Florence. It looks to mix both interactive storytelling with free-roaming first-person scenes. I'm really excited for this one. Now that we've had access to Apple Arcade for a few weeks, what are your thoughts on the service? I'm loving the quality of games on offer. Remember to leave a like if you want this to be a continuing series, and subscribe and turn on notifications to be alerted about upcoming videos. Anyway, thanks for watching.